Hi there, today we're going to talk about intervals in music. An interval is a measure of difference in pitch between two notes. Today we're going to focus on the white notes of the piano. If we go from one white note to an adjacent white note, that interval is called a second. And that could be from any white note to any adjacent white note. Every time it's called a second. If we play the first to the third note of a scale, we play a third. So instead of just the adjacent note, we play the third note, 1, 2, 3. Then we have a third. And again, that can be from any note, any scale. So you could even, so A, B, C. That's a third. A to C is a third. Or from G, F, E. That's also a third. And then a fourth from any note, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we go up 4 notes, or if we go down 4 notes, still the fourth. And then a fifth, a sixth, seventh, and then an octave. This one has a special name. Now, even though any two adjacent notes are called a second, some of these seconds have different sounds than other ones. So this is a second, and this is also a second, but these also have more specific names. So this one is what we call a major second, whereas this one is what we call a minor second. So the major second is always bigger than the minor second. It has an extra note in between it. Whereas the minor second has no note in between it. It is smaller. These are also referred to as tones and semitones. Major and minor also applies to thirds. So a third can either be major, in which case it has 1, 2, 3 notes in between it, or it can be minor, in which case it has only 2 notes in between it. Because fourths and fifths sound a little bit more pure than thirds and seconds and sixths and sevenths, we call them perfect. So fourths will always be perfect except for one of them, which is this one. And I'm sure you can hear that this sounds very different from this. So this one is not a perfect fourth. This one is what we actually call a tritone. The same thing happens with fifths. All of these fifths are perfect, 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 perfect. But then this one sounds a little bit different. It's a little bit smaller than the other fifths. And again, we give it the same name, tritone. So B to F is a tritone, and so is F to B. So these are both the same. This is the same interval, same name. Sixths are like thirds, and they can be major or minor. This one is major. And this one is slightly smaller, and so it is minor. Same with sevenths. This one is major, and this one is slightly smaller, and it is minor. can also achieve the same relation by playing this as a major 7. And if you just make it slightly smaller by raising this note or by lowering this note, you have a minor 7. These are all minor 7s. But we're not going to use the black notes, so you don't have to worry about that. Octaves are also all perfect. So I don't want you to memorize all these intervals. I want you to try to discern them with your ear. So I want you to hear the difference between octave and second, for example. That should be kind of obvious. Or maybe less obvious would be the difference between a major third and a minor third. So as you learn tunes by ear, I want you to try to notice these intervals and take note of the way that they sound so that you can recognize them in the future.